it's about more than just fancy bricks. It's about quality in terms of kind of how, as architects, we can help in terms of longevity, healthy places, climate resilience, and then optimising the schemes as well.
So it's going to be a mixed-use major community, between 6,000 to 10,000 homes. We've got various plans on the go at the moment. Employment as well. We've got about 3,500 jobs here. We're looking for about another 4,000 jobs. So it's not just about the homes, it's about the jobs in the local economy as well, and infrastructure, community, parks, place, and so on and so forth, and leadership. The local authority needs to take leadership in big projects like this. We can't just put a planning policy on a shelf and expect the private sector to deliver for us.
Hello, I'm Toby Fox from 1.5 Million New Homes, the Local Government Challenge, sponsored by Redloft Lovell Partnerships.
And for this episode by BPTW Architects.
And every month I'm visiting a new council to find out what works and what needs to change to get more homes built to get us to that 1.5 million new homes target. And this month, I'm in Greenwich, and in particular, I've come to Charlton Riverside. So we've been hearing a lot about Charlton Riverside and the ambition for that project to build thousands of new homes in this part of London. But every project of enormous scale has to start somewhere, and I've come to this site to find out where, from Dermot Whelan at Greenwich Council and from Chloe Phelps and Neill Campbell at BPTW, local architects here in Greenwich. Tell us who you are, where we are and why you've brought us here.
Yep. Good morning, Toby. I am Dermot Whelan. I am the Assistant Director of Regeneration and Estate Renewal at the Royal Borough of Greenwich. And today we are in sunny Charlton Riverside.
Welcome to Greenwich.
Indeed, yes, absolutely.
And what's happening here? Why have you brought us here?
Okay, so Charlton Riverside is an opportunity area designated by the GLA. It is possibly our largest regeneration opportunity. It's been on the go, but quite slowly since 2008, and we've gone through various planning processes, site assemblies and so on, but it does demonstrate the huge challenge facing the public sector in bringing forward major regeneration schemes.
And what do you see this place being 20 years from now? Okay,
so it's going to be a mixed-use major community, between 6,000 to 10,000 homes. We've got various plans on the go at the moment. Employment as well. We've got about 3,500 jobs here. Mm-hmm. We're looking for about another 4,000 jobs. So it's not just about the homes, it's about the jobs in the local economy as well, and infrastructure, community, parks, place, and so on and so forth.
And why hasn't it happened so far? What's held it up?
Okay, a variety of factors. One of them is the ownerships. It's in several ownerships. Mm-hmm. So Greenwich have taken the bold step of intervening, investing a lot of money. It is now the largest landowner in the area. Also, infrastructure. As you can imagine, putting in the new roads, all of the transport systems does cost a lot of money and requires a lot of site assembly. Viability, clearly. We've not only had the challenge of the markets and construction costs going against us, but industrial land values now competing with residential. So there's a variety of factors, but what we are doing now is working on rebuilding the partnerships with the various stakeholders, with the public and private sector partners, updating our planning policies as well in order to take it forward.
Fantastic. Okay, Chloe, Neill, you're standing here patiently in getting suntans. Tell us about who you are and about your role in making Dermot's vision for Greenwich come to life.
Okay, hi, I'm Chloe Phelps. I'm an architect. I work for BPTW as well as Grounded and also Architects Action for Affordable Housing, a campaign that we'll talk about more in a second.
Hello, I'm Neill Campbell. I'm a partner architect at BPTW. We are architects and urban designers based in Greenwich for over 30 years, so very much have a presence in the borough, obviously working here on multiple schemes and also have a long history of involvement here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this proposal behind us.
Please
here.
do. Yeah. What is it and what's it doing to bring Dermot's vision to life?
Well, I guess one of the interesting things about this is the first of many to come that has now been realised. So we're stood and it's almost complete here. 67 affordable new homes here for who was Optivo, now Southern. Yeah. And I guess what's interesting about this is where we're sat and stood here now with the surroundings that we see and the vision of the master plan are two very, very different things. Mm-hmm. And this has come first. And there's a real challenge about that. So there's a leap of faith in terms of a client, designers, a vision to realise something that's going to be sat amongst a hugely different context in the future.
Well, I guess to add to that, I guess it's partly linked to the campaign as well. In terms of delivering on the vision, is making sure that we're not just delivering at pace, but we're delivering quality as well. It's about more than just fancy bricks. It's about quality in terms of kind of how, as architects, we can help in terms of longevity.
It's easy for you to say.
It takes a very long time. Healthy places, climate resilience, and then optimising the schemes as well.
And getting that density right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Neill.
And I was just going to add, from a kind of people and resident perspective, there's not only the leap of faith and vision for us as designers and a client, but we will have residents living here soon, and the environment within which they live is going to change as well. And there needs to be a good understanding, I think, about that and living here and what the future will bring, because what the first year, 2 years will be and what the next 5+ years will be, again, living here will be a very, very different experience.
So, Dermot, tell us where we are in relation to the rest of Greenwich.
Sure, indeed, yeah. Okay, so this opportunity area is 300 acres. So it's absolutely huge, and you do not really appreciate it until you get inside it. If we went that way, we would end up at Greenwich Millennium Village and Greenwich Peninsula, up to the Dome. Over there is the Thames Barrier, and walk further that way and you're a couple of minutes away from Woolwich. But come a few hundred metres off the main road and you could be in any industrial zone in London. The size of this opportunity is lost until you actually get inside.
How big is it exactly?
300 acres, well, 302 acres.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
Why hasn't it been developed till now?
Well, a variety of reasons. First of all, the multitude of ownerships has been hard to assemble. There's 350 businesses here. There's major landowners like Greenwich, Hyde own a big site, Patricia, a large industrial company, Royal London Asset Management. So you have some significant landowners, but then you've got several others who are much smaller and are just trading businesses as well.
Yeah.
So you can't just go in and sweep through. You've got to spend a long time assembling the land. But Greenwich has made that investment, and it is now the largest site owner in the core area.
Fantastic. And Neill, what are you doing to catalyse this, to accelerate development here?
Well, coming forward with one of the first buildings, I suppose, is very important. New homes here. This is a testament to the start of this very ambitious programme, but it's taken a very long time to get to this point. In fact, 5+ years.
Yeah.
So it was important to work within the parameters of the policy position and understand, I think, that what we do here and the environment that's here today is quite different to what will be here in the future. This will be part of a local centre, for example, and look around us now. And
it's hard to imagine.
Not here.
Yeah.
So we have to have two hats on, thinking about this building, and new homes have to work now, and they have to work in 10 years, 20 years, etc., etc. And all of those things have to be considered when you design.
And when you think about how much this place is going to change, how do you plan for that when you're designing the first building?
Well, it's very challenging, but I think you have to have the vision and a belief in the master plan ultimately. Like over here is going to be a park that meanders towards the river. That's not here now. But this building is, and this is one edge of it. So we have to consider that. What's on the corner here? How's that going to work in the future? This particular area, how do you enter the building? Where do you move around? All of those things become extremely important.
And Chloe, when you look at this sort of area, it's not a particularly attractive place to come and live. So how do you kind of sell that vision to people? How do you make this, give people the sense of what this place is going to be?
Well, I think from a starting point, there's actually quite a few interesting businesses and enterprises that are already starting to emerge in the wider area. And from having kind of, as a local resident, kind of, I occasionally run up and down here. You were here last weekend. It's kind of, there is, whilst it's kind of difficult to imagine what the future of this place is, there's the starting point is the local community and the people that are already making this a really interesting place. And I think that's a really important place to start.
Neill.
I think that's a very good point, because you can't plan for something that's going to change so much, it loses the sense of what it was. And we're already, if you look down here, you can see the Thames Barrier. It's been here for years. It's a local landmark here. I'm from Greenwich. I knew the Thames Barrier when it was built, and it was the biggest thing in Greenwich at the time. And now it's part of this. And so those kind of elements that are ingredients to a wider master plan ambition are so important, not least the river.
Yeah.
Up there, you'll be able to see the river. Down here, you can't.
Yeah. So, Dermot, what are the big challenges that are facing councils in trying to deliver schemes like this?
There's lots of challenges at the moment, but what you do need to do is step back and realise these are long-term schemes anyway. Yeah. So behind us, Charlton Riverside is 300 acres. Just out of shot there is the Millennium Dome. That project kick-started the redevelopment of the Greenwich Peninsula. That started over 25 years ago. It still has a long way to go. So when you put it in the context, we're at the beginning of maybe the next 25 years of development, which will take us to 2050. So they are long-term. What we do need to do, however, is face the current challenges and build resilience into the future. So that's looking at the planning policies, making sure that they're robust to last a few generations, looking at the partnerships, getting the right parties from the public sector and the private sector together, looking at how to engage with the community as well, making sure that we understand the needs of the community and the local businesses, start sowing the seeds of the future community as well. So again, it's resilient and lasts a couple of generations. And leadership. The local authority needs to take leadership in big projects like this. We can't just put a planning policy on a shelf and expect the private sector to deliver for us.
So, Neill, Chloe, you've seen the annual review, you've seen the sort of list of pressures that councils are saying that the biggest challenges that they're trying to overcome, viability and the skills challenge and capacity in the industry and so on. You represent Architects Action for Affordable Homes. What is it that architects in general and BPTW in particular can do to overcome some of the challenges Dermot mentioned, some of the challenges in that review?
I think a lot of it comes down to actually truly working in partnership. And, I think as a practice, we actively get very involved in social housing and social initiatives in the local area. And I think the viability crunch doesn't just affect the development side and the councils. It's also affecting kind of how we operate as practices and businesses in the private sector. So I think one of the key things for us is really the more that we can streamline procurement, councils can kind of work more in partnership with private businesses. That means that it's costing us less to tender for projects and means that we can invest more in design quality over the long term. We can support more apprentices in the business. We can do more locally as well through our social value initiatives as well.
Thanks, Chloe. Neill, that sounds great, but the challenge is always going to be that when it's around procurement, the public sector is going to end up getting ripped off by the private sector, and that's why we need all of these rules in place and why it's so difficult to be procured.
Well, I guess there's some truth in that, but I guess there needs to be an element of trust across the industry in general. Like we're based in Greenwich, have been so for 30 odd years. We're with a client here from Greenwich, and we want, as a business, to invest in Greenwich. Those components together should be enough to allow a trusting relationship to develop and lay down the roots that allows us to overcome some of these significant hurdles.
So you've got practices, Dermot, that want to help. You've got local people, in effect, that have the skills to help you overcome some of the challenges and accelerate housing development. Why does procurement so often rear its head as the big obstacle?
Often it's perception rather than the reality of procurement. It's something that we can't avoid. We have to go through the regulations in order to procure properly and demonstrate value and suitability. However, what we do look for as well is not just the bottom line of procurement, it's actually the added benefits of working with companies like BPTW and others in terms of what are they doing as a firm, not just the design, but what do they do in terms of their social value? What's the wider benefit they bring to us as a client? So helping us build future talent, working with apprentices, doing internships, going out to schools and talking about careers in the industry as well. We look for that. So like I say, it is obviously a procurement process, but it's about a longer term partnership and firms that you want to work with, because together you're helping to bring in future talent and deliver 1.5 million homes and new communities.
So we've talked a bit about the skills that architects can bring to the development process and getting houses built, but that's not the biggest challenge in terms of skills from your perspective.
Yeah. Well, from our perspective, from the whole industry, skills and future capacity is a really, really big challenge. So, for instance, New London Architecture recently did a study. It's called Skills for Places, Future City Makers. And in it, they identified that in order to meet the challenges of housing growth and infrastructure growth, the industry needs 100,000 new entrants per year for the next 5 years. So that's the scale of the challenge at the moment.
100,000 new people.
100,000, yes, yeah. But also what they identified is that we're not reaching into the schools enough. So the future talent needs to start at school age, because we need to get that talent ready for the next 25 years, not just get them off the conveyor belts coming through the colleges and so on. So, for instance, they identified that two of the biggest influencers in bringing school-age children into our industry was, one, internships and work experience, and the second one was having studies that were relevant to our industry.
Okay.
But there is no GCSE in built environment. I personally think there should be.
Yeah.
So let's get them early. But then what we want to do is see firms picking up that challenge as well. Mm-hmm. Like BPTW, working with apprentices, working with locals as well. Mm-hmm. So Greenwich as a borough encourages our partners to work with local children, local apprentices, and start them on that process into becoming our future leaders.
Fantastic, Dermot. So, what are you doing as a practice to jump on that sort of skills development process, and also GCSE and built environment? Is that realistic? Would that help?
Well, being in the borough for so long, we've developed really good relationships with schools, primary and secondary. And I think what's quite interesting about this conversation is we're talking about a 25-year plan here. So if we're talking to primary school age children, they're the future. They are the future of their colleagues will have in the built environment. So that is really important. We've invested in that process for a long, long time. We also have apprenticeships within the practice. That's a very important thing for us. That's become more complex in the way that's developed through the architectural part of that.
Why has that become more complex?
The level 7 apprenticeship is no longer supported by the funding arrangement that was there previously, and that related directly to the latter stages of the architectural education. However, right now within our practice, across our kind of part 2 level, which is kind of the post degree, half of that would be through apprenticeships in our practices, and we're looking at other innovative ways, working with universities in particular, about how the architectural education can be opened up so that a greater number of people from different backgrounds can become architects and designers of the future, because I think otherwise we'll be faced with the future of a diminishing kind of skill set in our sector too, and
exactly the moment when we need more.
Exactly right. So, and that plays into the question, I guess, about GCSE in the built environment. Why not? I think that there's a place for it, certainly, and I'd like to think that there's an interest within the young people of today that would be part of that, particularly if living around an area of massive change.
I think it's also, it's obviously, I think, an important thing to think about to attract more talent to the wider industry, but I think it's also really important from allowing people to properly engage in the process. Like we've all been involved in projects, and you're more likely to get much older people who understand the system, who always kind of feedback and get engaged and are the loudest voice in the room. And so I think the more that younger people are brought into the conversation about how they can meaningfully change and shape the environment around them, I think the more better for it.
Yeah. Can I just add something there? That the industry we work in is changing. So, for instance, when some of the schemes that we started on 25 years ago were on the drawing board.
You're not that old.
Come on. Thank you. The iPhone wasn't around.
Right.
And we are now finishing schemes.
Yeah.
And clearly, we need to realise the world is very different and look 25 years ahead. So what is the nature of work in the future? We don't quite know that yet, but we need to know that children who are coming through this, the education system at the moment are looking that far forward. So it's about bringing in skills that we haven't traditionally nurtured into the built environment industry, such as AI, ethics, all your green skills, stuff to do with social impact, your behavioural sciences and so on. It's no longer just about the bricks and mortar and the technical side. It's about the future and getting those skills ready to come in as well.
Well, if that happens, it's enough to make me want to go back to school. So Dermot, Chloe, Neill, thank you very much indeed for your part in getting 1.5 million new homes built.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's it for another episode of 1.5 million new homes, the local government challenge, sponsored by Redloft and by Lovell Partnerships. We are going to be back with more from Greenwich in just a few days. So click like and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those episodes. And we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.